before I got up here, he said, just imagine everyone in their underwear. And it's a reasonably good-looking crowd, so that could have proven disastrous for me. So I'm just going to hope that I can get through this anyway. So I was really honoured to have been asked to speak here today. My day-to-day work is with all types of dogs. I really have a passion for robust law enforcement type dogs, and I find canine aggression really interesting, and an increasing amount of my work over the years has become in the realm of being an aggressive behaviours specialist, I suppose. And I'm honoured to be able to teach for the NDTF here and in Sydney and other areas about that to potential dog trainers. And I would like to think that the tables are starting to turn, and people are starting to understand that aggression in dogs is normal, and that it's, aggression shown in one context at one time is not necessarily indicative of a bad temperament in the dog. But I'm sure that lack of understanding about aggression plays a role in a lot of large shelters and pounds killing a large number of dogs. Now, we're here today to talk about the Lost Dogs Home, guys, but in no way, shape or form is this problem that we're talking about specifically limited to the Lost Dogs Home, yeah? They are simply a vehicle for us to have this discussion as an animal welfare oriented community and as a civil society. So, in order, I guess, rather than looking at what the Lost Dogs Home do wrong, let's just look at who does stuff right, okay? It's always more productive to look at who's doing what right as opposed to what people are doing wrong. It seems to me to be more constructive. Would you all agree?
Yes.
Okay, so RSPCA in Canberra is run by this bloke named Michael Link. He's a pretty remarkable... Was there a woohoo for Michael? Woohoo for Michael. 3 cheers for Michael. Hip hip. Hooray. Hip hip. Hooray. Hip hip. Hooray. Beauties. So, there we go. There's a few speaks as well. Well done. Give him a steak. So, RSPCA Canberra manages to have a save rate. Isn't that nicer to talk about, a save rate? And what do you think it is? Do you think it's better than 50%?
80%. 80.
You think it's 80%? Anyone think 80? My stats are 94% was their save rate. Isn't that awesome? Now look at the amount of love out there for a 94% save rate. So what we've really got to look at is save rate. What does that involve, right? Well, there's still 6%. Yeah? Now, I'm becoming an increasing believer in the no kill equation, Nathan Winograd's model. For those of you that aren't, does anyone love Nathan Winograd's model, no kill equation? Awesome. Now, I'm really blessed to have a good friend named Mia. Mia runs this great website and operation called the Paw Project. You can find them on Facebook and also on the web. And Mia painstakingly takes me through the stuff that I'm too thick to understand, which is always embarrassingly simple, which makes me feel terrible, right? But she's really helped to educate me about how this all works. Now, basically, the biggest difference, what you need to get to appreciate this, is that there is a difference between killing and euthanasia. If you understand that, then it all starts to make sense, right? So basically, killing tends to be convenient for us for whatever reason, and euthanasia is done with a view to being kind to the dog or the other animal, yeah? So killing a cat because it's got cat flu and saying it's not adoptable is killing, right? That same cat at 13 years old and it's in general ill condition and it's got a broken leg, maybe we would now talk about, well, is it going to survive the operation, and it may be euthanasia, yeah? So, we've got a 50+% kill rate for unclaimed dogs at the Lost Dogs Home. There is no way known that I would ever claim, and there is no way known that anyone else should ever claim, that Lost Dogs Home can do away with all of that figure. But we would like to think that we could at least halve it, wouldn't we?
Yes.
3 cheers for halving that kill rate. Hip hip!
Hooray!
Louder. Hip hip!
Hooray!
Hip hip!
Hooray!
Beautiful. So, if we were to halve that kill rate, that'd be awesome. should really be like leaving the mark with all of this, guys?
No. 95%.
95% would be pretty awesome, but you know what? I don't even know. I've got this cut-off in my head of 10%. I think 10% is pretty good. Different countries are going to have different variances and different, problems with dogs. There's going to be certain diseases in one area that aren't present in another. I'm comfortable with 10%. Right? What do you guys think? Is 10% a good target?
Yep.
It's a better target. Right?
Yeah.
So I think 10% is pretty good, but what we should really be aiming for is to not kill dogs based on behavioural issues. Right? And if there's a good home, if there is any home for a dog, or a cat, or any other animal, or a ferret, or a bird, or whatever, but that's not my particular interest. My particular interest is dogs, right? If there is a good home, then the animal should go to that home. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
It's got to be cheaper for the community than killing the animal.
Yeah.
Yep. So, I would say let's look at what the RSPCA are doing really well up in Canberra, not here in Victoria, up in Canberra, and let's maybe look at the LDH's statistics in that light. Now, what's the one thing that really needs to happen? There's a whole bunch of steps in Nathan Winograd's no kill equation, but what really needs to happen here, guys, is that we need to simply replace outdated thinking, right, and remove outdated practice. Replace them with things that approximate best practice. That's the only really thing that has to happen. It just requires someone to sit down with some authority and a pen and write into practice, we're going to start to save more animals. We're going to use the community. We're going to work in tight partnership with a whole bunch of different fosters, right? And we're going to support these people to do our work for us and to save these animals' lives. Instead of millions and millions. I have no problem with the Lost Dogs Home making millions and millions of dollars of profit. I want them to make more profit. It's cheaper for them to work with fosters, and it's cheaper for them to rehome dogs than it is to kill dogs. It has to be. Common sense tells us so. Okay? I have no problem with them making profit. I want them to make it in a way that honours our responsibility to those animals. Fair enough?
Yeah.
So, we need to treat dogs as individuals, guys, and this is where I come in my work. So, I guess people that hire me to work with their dogs and the dogs that I work with through rescues and whatever else, we treat them as individuals. We take the time, because it does take time, guys. You can't do it overnight. You can't just go and do one test. In fact, no test exists anywhere in the world. No scientifically validated, repeatable test exists for testing a dog's temperament. It does not exist. There's a woman named soon-to-be Dr. Tammy King here in Melbourne, and Tammy's working on a test for amicability as part of her doctorate. Isn't that cool? So that will really start to put the shoe on the other foot if Tammy's successful at developing that test. Because amicability is the big thing, isn't it? The ability to get along and go along. So we need to understand that it takes time to get to know these dogs and to get to the cause of what's going on, and sometimes we can't get to the cause of it, guys. Sometimes we're just left dealing with the symptoms, and we're just left putting steps in place that allow that dog to live the fullest life possible without any danger to society. And you know what? It would be exceedingly rare, and I deal with some pretty screwy dogs, it would be exceedingly rare for that to not be possible in my business. Would you believe that? Yep. So certainly we need to look at the kill rate that goes on at LDH and other large organisations that have similar kill rates and small organisations that have similar kill rates. Right? Aggression can't be claimed as being the main driver of that, or even a significant driver in that, if the RSPCA in Canberra can save 94% of dogs. camps that say, oh, you can only train a dog with treats. No, you can't use treats. You can only use a ball. Oh no, you can't use check change. You have to use a halty. Oh, you can't use a halty. You have to use a martingale collar. And we need to drop all of that factionalism, guys, and just understand that you can't train any one dog a certain way. You can't use positive reinforcement for everything. You can't use punishment for everything. They both have pluses and they both have minuses. And we need to come back to this whole treating the dog as an individual in order to get that result. Yep. Let's not tie people's hands behind their back and then ask them to win a big fight. Okay, let's just drop all that and just understand that it's about what's in the best interests of the dog and the community, okay? So, the other thing that I would really love to see happen is, I know there are only 7 dogs currently listed on the Lost Dogs Home website. Does anyone know how many they have in there?
Hundreds.
Hundreds of dogs and only 7 dogs are listed on the website, and I know that adoptions end at 12:30 today, which seems kind of strange on an open day. It's not exactly a celebration of the dog, is it? But beyond that, I would love to see when these dogs are listed, that they're just listed with a name or a number and a photo, and let's just remove the breed altogether, because geez, that gets in the way. When people start shopping for dogs and saying, I want a Kelpie, what's the difference? That Labrador over there might be the perfect dog for you.
Or the pit bull. Yeah.
Or the bull type. I don't like to say that word. Anyone who knows me knows I don't like to say that word. So, you know what, guys, I reckon I've just about run my course with all this. I've made some decent points. Sorry for having to read off notes, but it's more no-kill stuff than I'm used to talking about. But you know what, I really am passionate about this, guys. I really do believe that we can get the kill rate down, and the one thing that I'd like us to walk away from here with is, we've got an awesome turnout, we've got great people here, there's clearly the spirit here, isn't there? Yeah. The spirit of change. And just remember that when we leave here today, it's going to be very, very easy to demonise one particular organisation, right? But it's all of us who care about animal welfare, it's all of us that work in fosters and rehabilitating dogs and people that work in other shelters. We need to remain constantly open to conversing with people like the Lost Dogs Home and the RSPCA, because it's one thing to call them to account, but if we create a confrontational relationship with them, we're holding them to account today. But if they were to walk out here right now, if Graham Smith or anyone else was to walk out here right now, I'd shake his hand, right, and I'd acknowledge what it takes for them to admit that there is a better way, and we need to remain open to working with them. We need to be part of offering them a solution. It's not about making them look wrong or bad, it's about actually getting change. And in being committed to getting that change, we also need to take on that we can't be so committed to that change that we demonise one organisation and cost us the very result that we want, yeah?
Yeah.
Alright guys, I'm Griggs. Thanks for listening, thanks for coming out.